Wow, this is weird. I was getting emotional just now when I was like setting everything up, just like setting my camera down, putting the things, camera in focus and putting my memory card in my camera. And I was just starting to feel all kinds of feelings that I was not expecting to feel when I sat down to film this vlog. It's like overwhelming feeling of, okay, like say you had an ex you were in a relationship with for a really long time and there was a lot of good times, a lot of bad times. It was just like it was a full experience. And you guys break up and you haven't talked or seen that person in a really long time, and then, do you mind? And then you make plans to see them because they're in town or you're in town, and when you see them, you get this like feeling, it all comes flooding back, and it's not good, it's not bad, it just is this feeling of a lot. And nostalgia, that's kind of what I'm feeling now, and it's just kind of funny. Like it really caught me off guard, and it's not what I planned on talking about today, so that's that. Hello, hi. It's been a couple years since I last posted on here, and it had been a couple years the last time I posted, so I'm really out of practice with doing this. And yeah, it's just it's been a minute since I last posted on here. And every time I go back and just kind of like look at my channel, and you know, I randomly get comments on like that most recent video that I posted a couple years ago, and I've just had this like feeling, this like nagging feeling where I'm like, oh, I really don't want that to be the last video. I don't want that to be I don't want that to be the end of my story on this YouTube channel. And I don't think that like when I quit YouTube, I ever had this idea that like I will absolutely never post a video again. It's not about that, and I feel like at this point, it's literally just about me like finishing my own story on here. You know, I started this channel so many freaking years ago when I was living in Georgia in my parents' house. I was like 18 years old. My life was so different then, and I made these silly videos to just like document my life and to make friends online, and I did that. And then I did a lot more than that. And now that just because it's not my career doesn't mean I can't hop in here and there and kind of keep documenting my life and like keep putting in updates here, because it just didn't feel right that that last video that I posted was the last thing that I left there. And I don't know that this will be the last one either. It probably won't. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to watch that last video I posted just so I could get an idea of like the headspace I was in for the last time I was talking to you guys. And honestly, it was kind of hard to watch. Like it was really hard to watch myself be in that place again, because it was so painful. And that was the darkest time of my life up to this point. And even just talking about it and watching myself talk about it really like brought me back to that place where I was. And it was really difficult. It did get better. And I was in such a hard place for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I don't know when exactly, like the day I came out of it, but my life has changed a lot, and I'm doing so much better. And I guess I can give you just some like actual updates of what I'm up to. So I've been living back in LA for the last 2 years. I moved back right before COVID hit, so that was fun. I was like all excited to like see my old friends again and kind of like have my old life back. Literally COVID hit, I didn't get a chance to see everyone. It was back to just like texting, Zooming, you know, the whole spiel. And I was back in LA, and it felt right. It felt, you know, at the time I needed to leave when I left, and I think I needed to come back when I came back. Career update, I now have been working at a company called Jelly Smack for the last 2 years. I work in creator partnerships. So long story short, what I do is I help identify creators that make sense for our creator program. And I work with them to try to, you know, negotiate a deal to like get them eventually making a lot of money with us, which is super cool. So, you know, back when I was quitting YouTube, I knew I wanted to still work in the creator space, but I didn't know how and to what capacity. And so then when I started working at Jelly Smack, I got this partnerships role, and it sounded really interesting to me. Like, oh, I get to go to a bunch of creators and be like, hey, want to make a lot of money. And like, that just felt cool. It felt like a do-good kind of job. And It was interesting though, because that whole journey of like trying to find what career made sense for me after already having like such a long career as a creator, that was just like, it was really, really, really hard, because I just didn't know if I wanted to do like social media management, and that didn't feel right. And then I didn't know if I wanted to do talent management, and that also didn't really feel right. But you know, I didn't know what to do. Sorry, I changed the frame a bit. I had to sit a little differently. My feet were hurting because I was sitting on top of them, and I'm 32 years old now, and like weird parts of my body hurt at random times. Yeah, I just like had no idea what kind of, you know, it's like when you've been your own boss for nearly a decade, it's like, what do you even do when you try to look for a job? And like, I don't know, I was very, very lost, obviously. See my last video. And anyway, so I get this job and I'm just filled with imposter syndrome. I'm like, everyone at this company or in this industry has been on the behind the scenes side of things for so long, and I have not been on behind the scenes. I've been the YouTuber, I've been the creator, and now to go from that to then transitioning to being behind the scenes, and like, it's not that I was actually very, very excited to be behind the scenes. It was just, I felt like I wasn't gonna be caught up like everybody else, and I was just not gonna be as good at working and having a job and having a boss and having coworkers and writing emails and just like the things that I just thought I was gonna be really bad at because of my experience. It actually made no difference whatsoever, and I really just worked it all up inside my head. And you know, I think what made me, like the things that I was really nervous about that were gonna make me like not as good at my job, actually I think made me like better at my job than I thought I was gonna be. I don't know, but anyway, it's like I've made now like a full transition from like being a full-time creator for years to now working in tech and working behind the scenes, working in business, and like I love it. Like guys, I am so happy, and it is just like such a relief. I can't even, like, I could probably get emotional talking about it. I probably will at some point. I'm suppressing my emotion. My therapist tells me not to do that. But it's like going from like, no one knows like what is best for you, I think, except for you sometimes. And I'm not saying that's like the rule, so please don't like yell at your parents that like Kat said I know what's best for me. But like at the end of the day, like it's kind of true. And like when I was thinking about quitting YouTube, there were so many people, like so many voices for years that was just like, no, why would you ever quit? Don't quit. You've spent so much time building this up, and like you, so many people want to do what you do. Why would you quit? And like all this stuff. And I let them get to me, and I let them silence that voice inside of me that was saying like, you're not happy. Like this isn't for you anymore. Like you've changed. You know, eventually push came to shove and I quit because I knew I needed to. But then I went through those like 2 years of hell, like not knowing what the heck I was going to be doing next. And you know, then I landed on my feet. Cat pun there for you. I landed on my feet, and so many days I wake up like full of gratitude, just with like, I'm so grateful that I pushed and like made the decision that I knew was right for me. It was scary. It was terrifying. Quitting YouTube was terrifying. Then once I quit, not knowing what I was doing next for 2 years and feeling like I potentially made a huge mistake and like was so even more unhappy. But then like full circle, I like figured it out, and I went through that super hard time, and then now it's like I'm so much happier than even when, you know, at my peak of YouTube. And it's like doing what I'm doing now makes so much more sense. And like, I love business, and I love working, and I love structure. Like I didn't have structure when I was a YouTuber at all. I'm not someone who's good at creating structure for myself. And I just, you know, I don't know if it's like a grass is always greener situation. I started off working for myself really. And I had all that free time, and I was my own boss, and it was cool, and it was great, and there were perks, but there was a lot of downside too. And I think the thing that I've noticed the most is, for me, I love the structure of having like a to-do list every day, and like meetings, and just lots of structure. And I was really lacking in that when I was a creator, and I think a lot of my anxiety and depression would like act up more frequently because I didn't have that structure in place. But now that like I have something to funnel it into in a different type of way, it just works for me. And it's something that, it was something that no one else could have really known for me and it was something that only I knew. I just like said the same thing in 2 different ways, but you get the picture. So if you're going through hell, keep going. It's true. Like, just keep pushing through, and like, things have a cycle. I'm so old and I've done so many things, but it's cool to think like there's so much more to come. And it's like, I'm 32, and you know, 2 years ago when I look back at that last video I made, I had no idea that like I'd be living in LA again. I would be happy, I wouldn't be depressed, I would have a job that I love. And it's just like, I couldn't make up all that stuff for myself, especially in that time. And I think that it's so interesting to think like, I wonder where I'll be 5 years from now. Like, what could be so different about my life? And it's like, you know, my 20s were all about YouTube and all about social media and that boom. And I think that, you know, my 30s are gonna be more about like tech and corporate life and business and like that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I guess today I just wanted to kind of give a couple updates and say like, I'm okay, I'm doing well. And I don't really think anybody was wondering. Like, I don't think you guys were sitting here wondering how I was doing, since I don't, you know, I'm not really like a relevant YouTuber anymore. But I wanted to update this for me. And what's kind of cool that I like about this is that, you know, as I said at the beginning of this video, I started my YouTube channel for me. It grew into this career where it ended up kind of becoming more about you guys, which is like totally great and fine. Love that for you. But then now it's like back to being about me again. And not that I'm gonna like start posting all the time or whatever, but I kind of like the idea that I feel like I can, and it's not gonna be this like, oh my gosh, like now I'm becoming a YouTuber again, like the pressure, caring about the views, caring about subscribers, money, anything like that. It's like, I don't make any money from this anymore. I shut off my AdSense. I don't know if that was stupid, but it's like, this for me is like a no pressure situation anymore now. And I kind of like that. And it is so not for anybody else at all. This is entirely for me, you know, for 11 years of my life, like this was my therapy. Like I would come here and I would just like work things out and talk about things. And I lost that when I quit being a YouTuber, and I miss that sometimes. And, you know, I think this year I might want to make like a couple more videos than I have in the last few years, just to check in for me, you know, and to like have this documented for myself. And so, you know, like 30 years from now, when I'm looking back at my YouTube channel, if YouTube channels even exist in 30 years, or if we can access the old files, you know, I can kind of see where I was and how I was doing. And I've always enjoyed that aspect of things. So yeah, I think that's it for now. You know, let me know if this resonates with you in the comments. I really enjoyed on my last video seeing how much you guys related to where I was in life back then. And I'd be curious to know if this is helpful to you now. You know, it's like this is a part of life. It's like these transitions, these cycles, these scary, brave decisions we have to make, and we don't always know if it's going to work out. And sometimes it doesn't, and then sometimes it does. So, I don't know, just some thoughts for this new year. Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a great day and a great year. And, you know, if you made it this far, I'm shocked. If you made it this far, you can also let me know, because I'd be very curious. I don't even think I would make it this far if I was watching, well, it's my own video. I'm rambling. I'm not as shiny and polished on this thing as I used to be. But yeah, talk to you guys later.